Thank you very much. Good afternoon. This is my last official visit, at least, to the island, and hence it was the last meeting in this format. I will see Mr. Akıncı again tonight and tomorrow, but that in a different format. So it was good to have this opportunity to reflect on what we've been doing together over these years. I've been working closely with Mr. Akıncı for the last 27 months. I was here 1 year before during Dr. Rolo's time here, but of course the main thrust of the negotiations happened after he came in and changed the climate on both sides, I think. And on the positive side, I want to highlight that we managed to show, I think, what a final deal could look like. I think most people have a much clearer view now of the opportunity that existed and hopefully will exist again to create a united federal Cyprus that is truly federal, truly European, truly democratic, that is economically viable, and that is, has a modern security regime that protects and safeguards both communities in a way that does not inflict nervousness on the other side. I think we came very close, but we didn't get there. And the sad side of the story, and that we have to admit, is that it didn't work this time. And there's no denial that that's the case. So it's the mixed. I'm leaving with mixed feelings because, of course, needless to say, it would be much more satisfying to have been part of a leader-led process that led to a settlement. On the other hand, I think we made important strides forward. And what remains of my job now is to write a proper report. I mean, it will eventually be the Secretary General's report, but I will lead the work with the report that will be presented by the Secretary General in public to the Security Council on what happened not only over the last reporting period, but over this phase of the talks. I will also make some internal work. We will work on what's called an end of assignment report, which we always do when people in my job leave the job, and we will do some internal lessons learned for the UN. And so I will continue to work on this, but I will not be here. I will not come here and have a public role in Cyprus. That ends this week. I've got a lot of friends in the media, in politics, in business, in trade unions, in civil society, friends in high places and friends in normal places. I will maintain these friendships with the Turkish Cypriots and Greek Cypriots and Maronites and Armenians and all and people from all walks of life. And I want also to say, given that it's my last statement of this sort, that thank you for the cooperation. I'll say that it has been a pleasure to work with the negotiating teams. Mr. Öztil Nami and Mr. Andreas Mavroyiannis and their excellent support team has become true friends. I really learned to appreciate them through the 156 negotiators meeting we had, the 70 leaders meeting, and the hundreds of meetings in working groups. Of course, I've not been personally present in all of those, but I learned to know most of these people, and it's a very serious effort. And I think that effort has led to a lot of insights that I don't want to see it as wasted, because all this will be properly recorded, so that if there is a new opportunity, if there is a new chance some time, they can build on the platform of what was created during this process. I remain convinced, I'm as convinced as I ever was, that the best solution for Cyprus is a united federal Cyprus. I think Cyprus would be better off reuniting, establishing a true federal system with political equality, which is also fundamentally European. I have seen nothing in this process that suggests otherwise. But it has to be owned by the Cypriots. It has to be leader-led, and we cannot impose it. We don't want to, we cannot, and we will not in any way try to impose it. So whatever happens from now on has to be decided by the Cypriots themselves. And the UN Secretary General has made clear that he remains available. But we are not planning an initiative from the UN side. If something were going to happen, it has to come from here, and they have to tell us that they would like us to do more, in which case we would do more or differently. But we're not going to do it from our side, and I think we want to be honest about it, that we feel, the Secretary General and I and my excellent team, we feel we did what we could. And we brought the process to Crans-Montana. It didn't work. It's, of course, a question of substance, but as I've said, even more so, it's a question of trust and will and determination, and also a readiness to go that final mile. And I spoke about the final mile for a long time now, and, well, we didn't manage to go the whole final mile. We went far, but not all the way to the end.
Yes, but most importantly, I have a question for you. Despite you need to prepare yourself for your elections in your hometown, you're still working in Cyprus, and, for example, you need to write a report, you need to inform the Mr. Secretary General, so you still need to do something. What is the future of this UN mission here? What can you say about that?
So right now our focus is to finalize these reports. That's a question of a few weeks. Okay. So this is my last official. I will stop working in Cyprus, but I will keep the post for some time because I have to be in charge of this report work. But I'm making this visit now to make clear that my active work here ends. And then I have a great team. Many of them are here, and they're already deep into this report work. And then, of course, what will happen later is will be announced by New York. But UNFICYP will stay. That's clear. And the good office's function of the Secretary General will remain. That means that function which is embedded in him through the Charter. That doesn't necessarily mean that there will be a presence on the ground. That's something that is his prerogative to make a final decision on.
Yeah, and your position as special advisor, I mean, the position of special advisor is unclear. So
it's definitely unclear. Yes, yes. What is clear is that I'm leaving.
All right.
That's very clear.
What do you remember about the Cyprus when you're leaving?
I will remember a beautiful country, a beautiful island, a lot of nice people, a lot of nice culture and good food. I will also remember very long meetings. I will remember some meetings where we very quickly managed to arrive at extremely important breakthroughs. And I also remember the meetings where we were discussing the same little issue for several days without getting to a breakthrough, or maybe getting it in the end. But I will take with me a positive experience of having learned a lot about some very nice people. And of course there are elements of that which I will not miss. But overall it's been a good experience to be part of it. I'm happy I said yes. I'm sorry. I'm sad that it didn't work out. I think I've said before, it's a collective failure, and when I say that, that means everybody. I mean, we all need to reflect. Any mature person will say that if I was part of something that didn't work, we have to think about what could we have done differently, and I encourage everybody involved to think more about what they could have done differently and less about what others could have done differently, because it's more constructive to see if you can learn something for yourself. But I want to say, and I want to say something I also said when I talked to the Greek Cypriot press a few hours ago. One lesson we already learned, at least on our side, is that you should probably not have these processes as secretive as they've been. You can have a short-term secret process, or you can have a long-term, more transparent process, but to have a long, protected process where you don't share the outcomes on the way is probably not a good idea. I'm saying that very much understanding why the decision was made to keep it as it was. I understand that, because one concession can only be explained when you can explain another one. But I think that's part of the problem. And I think that while I recognize that civil society stood up and took a stance late in the process, it should probably have happened earlier. And if there is a chance again, I think broader society needs to be more involved. I think maybe the Cypriots have left it a little bit too much to the leaders, and that's something to reflect on. If you want change, you have to stand up for change. You can just not sit and wait that somebody will change for you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.